Hello there, everyone. This is Aaron St. Dennis, the FF Mad Scientist, and this is the Mad Science Lab podcast. Today we are continuing on with the Studs and Duds series, and the gentleman grooving in the background is Russ, better known as Dynasty Outhouse. Russ, thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me. It is awesome to be on such a colorful show.
It is very colorful. The Travis Kelce graphic definitely mixes it up a bit. Would you like to take a second here to tell everyone what it is you're doing and where they can find you?
At Dynasty Outhouse on Twitter, I am part of the hosts of the Trade Addicts podcast, Dynasty Game Night, Dynasty Wallstreet. Right now, the big deal is Fantasy Cares and Scott Fishbowl. We did like 2-3 weeks of every weekday doing a stream of getting people into SFB, giving away spots, just having a good time and all. And now that we're ramping up for the tournament itself, it's building. It's getting exciting. I'm ready. I'm ready to get this over with.
Get this over with. I see some of those hopefuls chats have blown up with the giveaways. Well, when's the last day of invites?
Oh, well, I mean, the drafts begin the 10th, and and I mean, I don't know if it's a dirty little secret because I feel like it's talked about anyway. If you time out in the first round of your draft, you're just
replaced.
You're gone. So you're replaced. So there's literally up to the day of drafting, there's the chance.
Yeah. What is it? 8-hour clock?
Yeah.
I forget. I think we had this. We didn't have a guy replaced, but the 101 last year, everyone talked. We got into it. The 101 took like 6.5 hours, and we thought he was going to time out. It was ridiculous to take Patrick Mahomes.
You got to work the phones. You got to call the players, call the other teams. You know, everyone. It's the same thing with the NFL draft. No one just like the 101 doesn't come on the clock and they make their pick. No, they still take their 8-9 minutes, just doing their due diligence. It's smart GMing. So cut that. No, don't cut that person slack. That's awful.
Is it same as last year where the live drafts were on Sleeper? Everything else is MFL.
It's actually a pretty decent split this year. There's a bunch of just slow drafts that have worked their way onto Sleeper.
Okay.
A lot of the live drafts are like split. Like most of the live drafts aren't just one. There's usually 2 or 4, and those are usually 1 or 2 and 2, depending on preference of people there, more or less.
Yeah. See, I think I always put in Sleeper. I use MFL too, but I'm just so much more comfortable with Sleeper. I can't seem to navigate my way around MFL. I haven't quite got comfortable with it, but
I'm literally the exact opposite of you.
Yeah, I guess it all depends. All my leagues are on Sleeper, so I think Scott Fishbowl is the only league that I've ever used MFL on, except for this year where I've got into a lot of Ryan McDowell's mocks for DLF, and all the FC eliminators were on there. So I'm a little more familiar with it, but last year when my first Scott Fishbowl, my first league on MFL, it was a real chore just to figure out how to even make a pick on the app. So
I mean, I'm an old man. I work on my computer all day. I honestly don't like doing things on my phone. Like my phone is for games. Like I don't want to talk to anyone, you know. So like I have texting on my computer. I have MFL on my computer. I have just everything on my I don't want to have to move my hands off my mouse and keyboard. And I don't know if you've ever looked at the web app for Sleeper. It is not great. We'll just leave it at not great.
There's a lot of features missing that are available on the mobile.
And honestly, I'm just I don't want to. I was about to say I don't want to be that grumpy old man, but I already called myself that, so I'm rolling with it. Even the app. I don't like. To me, I don't care that MFL doesn't have an app. Their mobile web site is perfect. It is literally an easier version. It is a touchscreen version of their website. I don't understand but there's no app. Who cares? You know what? Just put a shortcut on your home screen.
That's what I did.
Click that button. It takes you to that specific league. There, that's an app.
That's exactly what I did last year. I use it at work on the go a lot, and that's the only reason I found. Like I said, once you get used to it and you learn how to transition through, it's not so
there's
bad.
a curve. There's definitely a curve for MFL, especially for you young kids who aren't used to like Windows 3.1.1. I mean, like it is I mean, there's no excuse for like what their UX is, but like still, you get used to it, and like second nature. You don't even think about where you're clicking. You just know what to click.
All right. Well, we better get into it before I spend another 20 minutes picking your brain on Scott Fishbowl. We will start off with...
You don't want to do that anyway. I have no idea what I'm talking about. It's fine.
That's the premise of what I base my fantasy analyst profile on. I have no clue what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, the story behind this, just to say, if anyone disagrees with me, it's like, cool. I'm literally full of shit. Like, I have no idea.
I love it. I love it. All right. We have Travis Kelce, 1,338 receiving yards, good for 12 TDs, 351.8 full PPR points, 18.61 per game, finished as the tight end 1 and is currently going as the 6th overall tight end 1. There's not a lot of argument here on my part. What is it about Kelce you like, aside from the fact that he's the tight end 1 every year for the last 15 years, it seems?
All right. Well, as a member of the DLF family of podcasts, writing articles for DLF and all of that, I went to the DLF ADP, and Travis Kelce is, hold on, let me pull it up because I completely forgot. He's tight end 3 and the 30th player overall. See, this I love.
Wow.
ADP of 6 and tight end 1. Yes, that's the right answer.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's in redraft on DLF or
no
DLF. Okay.
Dynasty League football. It is straight Dynasty, which is why Mark Andrews and Kyle Pitts find their way in front of Kelce, because it's a very ageist group of people doing those mock drafts. Like, I mean, I get it. Travis Kelce is 34-ish years old. I legitimately don't care. Look at what that man looks like.
No,
he will play until he decides not to anymore, and he will be playing at a ridiculously high level until he decides not to play anymore. Like, I get it that this is one. Okay, let me step back a little further. Comparing players to outliers is bad process. Saying this is the next Tyreek Hill, this guy will do what Jerry Rice did. No, those guys are that for a reason. But Tony Gonzalez was in the league until he was like 43 and played well, and I'm exaggerating, played well the entire time. We can say Travis Kelce can do that too, because he has shown that he's elite for a long period of time, and elite players play for elite lengths of time. I will ride my Travis Kelce shares into the sunset. Like, I won't ever trade them away at this point, because you won't get what it's worth for, and I will just keep winning, because he will, on a bad year, he finishes as the tight end 2. Like,
he for me, and even in Dynasty, he got Tom Brady status for me. At some point, he's been so good for so long, I don't care. He may die on my roster, so be it. I'm gonna have 10 tight end 1 finishes before he's eventually useless. Oh well. I don't care. I'm just every year I'm going to take him as the tight end 1, like you did with. Well, you didn't necessarily do that with Brady, but every year you drafted Brady. The last year he probably died on your roster. He was still usable though, even in that last year. So Kelce retires after this year. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I'm taking him overall number 1 every time. I think I have a lot of him, and even last year in Scott Fishbowl, I tried to get him, but he went before me. I got Mark Andrews, and I was very disappointed with the end product. So
I have such beef with Mark Andrews because of the end of last year. I know it's not his fault. The dude was injured, played through injury, and had no other receiving help or quarterback by the end. But like, I paid so much to get him on my team, and then it didn't. It didn't help.
SFB 12, I was 109, and I said, I want Kelce. He went at 108, so I said, well, you know what? Mark Andrews is just as good. I'll take him at 109. Mark Andrews is not just as good.
Oh, see, I would have been like, you know what? I hate you all. I'm taking this clock to the last minute, and a lot of expletives that I don't want to say on your show.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I get it. Like there is no close to. You want Mark Andrews to do it. I've always been insanely skeptical of his efficiency, but we're not here to talk about Andrews.
Who would you like
Kelsey's
to talk about next?
All right. Well, I mean, do you want to just let's go both hires. Let's do Mondre.
And there we go. All right. Next up, we have New England Patriots running back Ramondre Stevenson, 1,040 rushing yards, 421 through the air, 6 touchdowns, 241.6 full PPR points for 14.65 per game. Finished as the RB7 on Fantasy Pros. He's currently going 25th overall, which brings him in as RB10. All right. Well, what are your thoughts on him?
See that again, that is in the more correct direction than DLF, who he's at RB 14 and 38th overall. Even like there are a few running backs out there right now on the free agent market, which are, well, they're past their prime, but they're still the kind of players that you're like, okay, I'm a little worried when that team, there's Zeke Elliott, Dalvin Cook, and Leonard Fournette. If any of those three can sign on the Patriots, and I wouldn't care.
Yeah,
Ramondre Stevenson, and it, like, honestly, it's not even like Ramondre Stevenson is good. I'm going to put this out there. He played really, really well last year. Even it started because Damian Harris got hurt, and then even when Damian Harris got healthy and came back, it was still a Ramondre Stevenson show. Like I know we have been burned and scarred and picked the scabs and scarred again with the Patriots running back position, but I'm ready. I'm ready to buy in on this. I'm ready to say that Ramondre Stevenson again finished like RB7, I think you said.
7.
And
yep, 7.
There's literally what happened to that offense? They got an offensive coordinator and they got people who can catch the ball. And I hear that they might be signing Nuke soon. Good offense is good for running backs. Yep. This will only get better for Ramondre Stevenson. And yeah, we're adding Bijan and Breece Hall is going to come back healthy. Cool. You're still at 40th overall, are paying RB14 prices for a dude that's probably going to give you a top 10 finish with probably a couple of spike weeks, getting you top 5 games. Like, I firmly believe that Ramondre will do what he did last year. And I don't think that value is displayed almost anywhere.
No, I think it's clearly a case of just buy the Belichick mistrust discount. Everyone's 100%. Just been burned so many times by him, flip-flopping to a different running back each year that people say, well, everything they've put out, whether it's misinformation or not, 1 second it's Ty Montgomery's going to have a role. Who was it this week? Was it Kevin Harris or Pierre Strong? One of them was rumored to have a big role this week, and I think that's scaring people off. I wasn't a huge Ramondre guy, but I think at the current price, I'm going to have a lot of shares of him because I don't care what Bill Belichick says. I'll take a chance, top 7, RB7 last year, and right now he's going as RB10, and I think he's been slipping even lower than that in a lot of my drafts, so he's someone I'm going to take a shot on.
And if there's one person you can't trust in what they say to the media, it's Bill Belichick. So,
well, I think he would be number 2. I trust Pete Carroll even less.
Oh, I just don't even listen to what that man says anymore. Yeah. I forgot he talks.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Next up, we can go to 49ers wide receiver-ish running back, Deebo Samuel. 232 rushing yards, 632 in the air, 5 touchdowns, 157.4 fantasy points for 12.8 per game. Wide receiver 40, currently 34 overall in ADP, which makes him wide receiver. I lost him. Oh, there he is. Wide receiver 16. The most mind-boggling thing I've ever seen is teammate Brandon Ayuk, who outproduced him, is going 16 wide receivers later. Yep. That's all I needed to know on why I don't have any shares of Deebo. What are your thoughts?
Everything. Yes. Why? I'm going to... In a little bit of defense of Deebo Samuel, points per game, he was around wide receiver 24-ish. Yeah. But you literally never felt good having him in your lineup. Like, there was no time where you were just like, yes, He finished as wide receiver 3, what was it, 2 years ago, because
Yeah.
every single person on that offense was injured. So he had to be a running back also. That started to go away towards the end of the season. That started to go away in the beginning of last season. And then they got a little man called Christian McCaffrey.
Is that all? Just McCaffrey? Oh, okay.
Just little guy. You know, he doesn't look like the Incredible Hulk or anything.
No, he doesn't.
I can't even find words. That's how I don't understand what it will take for this man's ADP to actually fall. And what's really funny is his trade value is next to nothing, but his ADP will hang up there.
I don't know how.
Why?
It mystified me when I looked. I was actually looking for Brandon Ayuk when I looked it up, and I said, why the hell is Debo, like Ayuk's 73 overall? Debo is 37.
And
is it possible someone at Fantasy Pros is dyslexic and got them backwards?
And the weird thing is, we are clamoring for Brock Purdy to be the starting quarterback. It appears he's going to be ready to throw in the offseason, which is insane to me. Like, I was ready to give him a year off because of the Tommy John surgery and all of that.
Yeah.
But apparently he had a different surgery, which heals you faster, which I hope it doesn't screw him over in the long run. Like, I would feel bad for the kid. Like, don't get me wrong. You need to capitalize on this. You need to get back on the field. But, like, I hope it doesn't screw his career, because as a human being, that would suck. But he has a stronger arm than any quarterback that has actually really played for the Niners. I mean, we never really saw Lance. But, like, in the Garoppolo style of quarterback play, Debo was great because, you know, Debo and Kittle ran 3-4 yards down the field, and every single play got 15 yards of yak. Like, everything was that team was built for yards after the catch, except for Brandon Ayuk, who is X-ish. Like, he's not like your prototypical X, but he's pretty close to it. And what happened when Brock Purdy got in there? Yeah, X-adjacent. I like that. Like, what happened when Brock Purdy came in? We started seeing some 20, 30-yard passes to Brandon Ayuk, and we saw Debo not really do much of anything.
Yeah.
And even if you're like, oh, they're going to start Sam Darnold until Brock Purdy's ready, you don't want any part except for Christian McCaffrey of that offense if that's going to happen. But, like, the second Brock Purdy is back to play, chances are we go back into that real throwing. It's not the dink and dunk that they played before. I don't get it. I just, it's been years that I don't understand this. And, like, I hated that he was, okay, that sounds really, really mean. As a human being, I loved that he was doing well, because you see the way I talk. I hate to, like, talk bad about people. As a human being, any man who has the nickname Debo, I root for, because that means he is BAMF, man. So watching him play is a lot of fun, but it's just like, no, you're increasing your value, and it's going to stop the descent you should be making. And we're still stuck here. We're still stuck here with him in the first 3-4 rounds, and it shouldn't be.
We're stuck in 2020. He's living off the value of one outlier season.
But it was an outlier season.
No, it was, but
was it that long ago? Oh man,
2020, I think. Yeah. So yeah, that's fine. When you drafted him, then in what, the 9th round, 10th round?
Yeah, when him and Ayuk were next to each other in the 7th. Like,
it makes no sense.
No sense.
No, I found it mystifying that Ayuk was going later than him. I don't know. It frustrates me. It means I'm going to have no Debo and a whole lot of Ayuk, I think.
I think so too. Yeah. All right. So this one, I like Travis Etienne. I do. And RB8 is, and okay. So again, I didn't mean to step on your toes and
no, go for it.
Sorry, I talk a lot.
All right.
So
I listen to your show, so I know how you go.
Thank you. Travis Etienne in DLF ADP was RB8 and 28th overall. And from what we saw of him in the situation they were in, I get it. He, after being hurt his rookie year, coming in and starting to really do well, starting to be part of that offense that is just getting better and better. I love that offense so much. I'm a huge Calvin Ridley fan. So the fact that he's there, just like, besides the fact that I hate number 0, I think that couldn't you just go with 8 or something? Like, it had to be
but he looks faster in 0, they said.
He only has one. It's just like, but in 8, it's just one number. You don't have that 1 slowing you down on both sides and on your shoulders. Like, there's less patches. I get it, but like, just go single digit. You don't have to go 0.
I love the stuff people come up with in the off season, the middle of summer when they're just bored. But sorry, continue on with your take.
I don't know how old you are, but if you were like a fan during if you were playing fantasy football during the Steven Jackson days,
I came in for the end of that.
Well, he was on the Rams for most of his career, and he was amazing when the Rams were like the worst team in the league, and then ended up, I think, in like Atlanta towards the end. But like, he had really long dreadlocks.
Yeah,
and it just made him look like he ran faster than he really did. He was never really known for his speed. He was a bulldozer.
No, but they commented on the dreadlock thing and his speed on the league. Did you ever watch that show?
Yeah, he's got that dread speed. Yeah,
that's what they said. Yeah.
ETN, right?
ETN, that guy.
My bad. So I really, really like him. I love he's in that offense that is getting better. And I'm not sitting here saying that Tank Bigsby is going to steal his job in any way, shape, or form. I also just don't think they want him to be, and personally I don't think he should be a workhorse. Like, he had these games of 20 plus points when he was getting like 20 touches, and ETN's not that big of a dude. ETN has a foot injury issue. Foot injuries just scare the hell out of me. Like, how many games did Julio Jones over his career miss because of foot injuries?
Yes.
And I mean, it was the beginning of his career where he missed like a season and a half because he had the foot injury and then had to get the screws in, get the screws out because there was an infection. Like this is a story that's happened 3 or 4 times in the NFL in the past 15 years. And I'm not saying that's happening to him because he's survived his foot injury, but like, just the idea of foot injuries scare me. But like, I don't think he's a workhorse back. I think he is a very, very fast guy who has gotten better at catching the ball. I don't think he's going to be relegated as a 3rd down back or anything, but RB8 prices is a little. I don't want to have to spend okay, he's 28th overall. I was going to say a top 2 round. Honestly, I don't think I want to spend a top 3 rounds. Like, if Travis Etienne is sitting there in the 4th round for me, like, that's gold. Like, that's where I want him. I don't want him as the RB1 on my team. And if I'm drafting, I'm not drafting a running back in the first 2 rounds. So, like, there's no world where I draft Travis Etienne in the startup.
No. Well, so last year he finished as RB17 with no Calvin Ridley, and he got 80% of the running back touches. There's Calvin Ridley on the team. They already said he's not getting that many again. Why would he go up from RB17 at that point? So sure, he could be a little bit more efficient, score some more touchdowns, and finish as a high-end RB2, low-end RB1. He's being drafted as RB8. Not only is he being drafted at his ceiling, he's being drafted over his ceiling. I don't think it's possible. There's no way he meets his ADP.
Yeah, he had like stretches of disappearing. Like, I just pulled up his stats from last year. Pretty slow start. He hit up 14, 12, 18, 25, 26, 10. 0.3. Okay, I'm assuming he got hurt this game because there's 0.3, but then there's 7, 3, 12, and then
he missed some time at the end, didn't he?
Well, no, just that Ravens game, I guess. Because or maybe he might have missed week 18. Week 18. I just don't have that on here. But like, he has ways of disappearing for longer than I want him to. Like, I don't think this stretch towards the end of the season, when he's put up 26 points, he had 28 rushing attempts. Like, and his targets, 3. It looks like he averages about 3 targets a game.
Yeah.
Of course, he goes 3 for 32, 3 for 29, 2 for 24. Like, again, he's good at it.
Yeah.
But I don't think we are going to see 24, 28, 19, 17, 22. Like, these are his rushing per game. Like that's. Yeah. I think we're going to stick towards, like, here, he has a couple of games of 10 rushes with 5 targets. Like, that's not bad. That's low-end RB2 numbers with maybe you get some spike weeks.
Absolutely.
I like him. I like the player. I love that offense. It's DeAndre Swift. I like DeAndre Swift so much, but by default, he was RB2-3 because everyone else got old or injured. And I'm just like, oh, no. And now I love this because he fell to like the 4th, 5th round of startups. I wish I waited longer because he fell even further. And then he gets traded to the Eagles. And it's just like, now's my time to shine when I have like 6 shares of Swift because he finally came to a price I was willing to pay for him.
Absolutely. I agree. And I think I'm going to be out. Well, thank you, Russ. I will call you by your actual name, Russ. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
That has been Studs and Duds with Dynasty Outhouse, also known as Russ. Once again, I'm Aaron St. Dennis, the FF Mad Scientist. You can find my written work at Player Profiler, DLF, The League Winners, and King Fantasy Sports. This has been the Mad Science Lab podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a good night.
Buddy.
Thank you, Russ.